Great Lakes prepping here. We don't have a lot of time. Halloween is almost here. That means I have to hurry if I want to finish my Halloween video in time. It was about 4 weeks ago when I made a startling discovery. A Halloween party that I'm supposed to attend. I realized if there was to be any chance that I'd win Best Costume, I'd need something really good. At first everything was coming together, but something was missing. I came to the conclusion that in order to complete the ensemble, I would need an awesome prop. So I made this glowing LED container of pretend radioactive waste. Keep watching and I'll walk you through exactly how I did it. It's probably too late for you, but me, I have a wicked sweet Halloween costume. I may just have a chance at winning Best Costume. Hopefully this video manages to help people in the future, like, for next Halloween. I just pray that it does.
Okay, let's start with our list of needed materials. First, 2 Voss water bottles, the large 28-ounce ones. I'll mention that we only need the cap from the second bottle. Next, spray paint. I used a rusty brown multicolored textured can, a charcoal colored metallic can, and a can of crystal clear enamel just for a little protection. Next, a length of polycarbonate tubing or some other similar type of thin-walled plastic tubing. I used 3/4 inch inner diameter, 1 inch outer diameter clear tubing. I bought a 2-foot length of it, but I only needed around half of that. Next up, a glue gun and several hot glue sticks. I used about 7 or 8 sticks for this project. For the radioactive goo, I'm using hair gel. I didn't quite see the color I wanted, so I bought 2 bottles and mixed them, and I'm very happy with the resulting color. And finally, tiny little LED lights. These come in packages of 100. They're called balloon lights, and I guess they're sold so you can stuff them inside of balloons for nifty-looking decorations for weddings and such. They're basically disposable. You pull the little tab and they'll shine for several days before dying. They come in a few colors, and I went with green. I'll mention a great alternative for these lights would be to use a long green glow stick. It might not get quite as bright, but the effect will still be pretty good. I get started by using some sandpaper to scuff up the water bottle lids before painting. Then 2 solid coats of the textured multicolored paint. Followed by a quick misting with the charcoal metallic paint. And 1 good coat of the clear coat. I could have done more of these, but I was happy with the result after 1 coat. The look I was going for was sort of an old rusty metal appearance. I was also thinking about doing a stainless steel look, like laboratory grade metal or something, but since my costume is all Cold War era stuff, I went with a weathered, old looking style. I'm very pleased with how the paint came out. Now to cut a couple lengths of tubing. I need a longer piece that will run down inside the bottle and hold the LED lights, and I need a very short piece that only serves to be a sturdy connection point so I can glue the second cap to the bottom of the bottle. I used plenty of glue on both sides to ensure it's attached very well. I filled the center of the cap with about a full stick of glue, and I filled up the divot in the bottom side of the bottle about halfway with more glue. Then I carefully put the cap in place and made sure it was level on all sides. I'll mention that I could have possibly attached this by running a line of glue around the edge of the cap where it touches the outside of the bottle, but there was a very small amount of surface that actually touches here, and I also figured I'd make a huge mess out of glue squishing out and running everywhere. Now to add the hair gel. Rather than try to mix the 2 colors together in some separate container, I just alternated squeezing a bit into the water bottle at a time. They ended up mixing together just fine and looking just as I'd hoped. Next is to prepare the long plastic tube. I needed to plug up one end of it, so I made a big puddle of hot glue and dipped it in. Rotating it for a while, while it hardened, prevented all the glue from just oozing out. I must have forgotten to hit record on the next step, but basically I wanted to create a gasket of sorts at the other end of the tube. This is where the tube comes up into the opening of the bottle. I wanted to have some sort of gasket or seal that would keep the hair gel from draining out if I was to tip the bottle while the lid is off, like for removing the LED lights once they've died. So I cut a hole in a paper cup and stuck the end of the tube slightly through. Then I filled up about 1/4 of an inch of the cup with hot glue and let it harden. From here, it was a matter of peeling away the paper cup, sculpting the rubbery ring of glue to be the size I needed. With an X-Acto blade and some sandpaper, I got it down to the size I needed, just a very thin ring of rubber. I'm sure there are some other ways I could have done this, such as with rubber bands or buying an actual rubber gasket, but I wanted to wrap up this project without buying more stuff. Now that the inner tube is in place, it's time to add the lights. To activate each light, a small plastic tab has to be pulled out. Then just drop in the bulbs and the LED light is diffused quite nicely by the gel, and the result is a bright, creepy glow. For a finishing touch, I added some radioactive style decals. I just printed these on some adhesive label paper and trimmed them out with an X-Acto knife. All in all, I'm super happy with how it came out. In my head, I was picturing a vial or container of some sort of radioactive or biological substance. My inspiration was sort of a cross between the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ooze containers and the Boomer Bile jars from the Left 4 Dead video game. Without machining something from scratch, which I don't know how to do, I'm not sure I could be any happier with my final product. There's not too many projects I can say that about. One last thing I'll mention. I'm not really a big crafter, cosplayer, or even Halloween person, so I didn't have a lot of these materials on hand already. Because of that, the whole thing ended up costing more than it probably needed to. But as they say, it takes money to spend money, or something like that. Anyhow, let me know if you have any questions in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you've made something like this, or make one in the future, I'd love to see how you did it.
Thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Girl Likes...